Good morning. Welcome for coming. Before I start my comments, I'd like to ask Captain Brockway if he'd like to say a few words, the captain of our area. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Van Nuys Division. Welcome to Van Nuys City Hall. Commissioner Figueroa, Mr. Chief, thank you for being here. We're very excited to be part of this process and comments about our new Chief of Police in the next few months. So thank you, everybody, for being here. We look forward to some great comments. And if you have any questions and concerns, I'll be here throughout from start to finish. Thank you very much, sir. Ma'am.
Thank you. I am Police Commissioner Sandra Figueroa Villa, and I'm joined by our Executive Director, Mr. Richard T. Fink. We both want to thank you for coming this morning to the most important community meeting for us to hear what qualities, characteristics, and competencies you would like to see in your next Chief of Police. Your Chief of Police for the past 8.5 years, Charlie Beck, has announced his retirement after 42 years of service to the LAPD effective June 27, 2018. Under the city charter, the general manager of the city personnel department, in conjunction with the Board of Police Commissioners, conducts the recruitment. Applications for the Chief of Police will be submitted to the Personnel Department, and the most qualified candidates are then forwarded to the Police Commission for interviews. The Police Commission then provides the mayor the names of 3 candidates in rank order. From those 3, the mayor will select his appointee whose name will be forwarded to the City Council for confirmation. The Police Commission is holding 6 of these community input sessions in various areas of the city to hear from the community. Additionally, there is an online survey available in 4 languages: English, Spanish, Tagalog, and Chinese. The survey can be located at www.lacity.org, www.per.lacity.org, and www.ladonline.org. There are paper copies of the survey in the back of the room today that you can complete if you would like. You may send your comments via email to percomments, PERCOMMENTS, @lacity.org. This information will assist in the preparation of the recruitment brochure and our interview questions for the candidates. What I would like to do this morning is hear from you what you would like to see in your next Chief of Police. I would ask that you fill out a comment card so that we can call speakers forward in an orderly manner. To respect everyone's time, I would ask that you hold your comments to 2 minutes. Since this meeting is to gather your input on the qualities, characteristics, and competencies of the Chief of Police, I ask that you keep your comments to that subject. I do know that some of you are here to advocate for a particular person. That's great, but I'd like to hear why, the qualities and characteristics of why you think that person is qualified to be the chief. Mr. Tiefenk, do you have anything you would like to add?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. Thank you all for attending. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. As the Commissioner said, the Commission is holding 6 of these community meetings. This is our 3rd. Next week we will have 3 more. The schedule, I believe, is over on the table here. Next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. we will be in the Watts area at Edwin Markham Middle School. Next Wednesday at the Montecito Heights Senior Center in Northeast area. And next Saturday at the West LA Municipal Hearing Room in the Venice area. That will conclude our public meetings. The survey that the Commissioner mentioned, copies of it are here by paper. If you want to fill out a paper copy today, you can hand it to one of the officers. We will then give it to the Personnel Department, and they will input it. Another way you can do that is to just take the survey, take it home with you. It is available online at the 3 websites. I'll mention them again. The lacity.org, which is the city website. PER.lacity.org, which is the Personnel Department website, and the LAPD Online website, which is lapdonline.org. On all of those websites, if you go to the first page, you'll see a square box with an icon with a badge and community survey. Click on that. It'll take you right to the survey, and you can complete it there. That would be the easiest way to do it. But again, you're free to take the paper copy of it with you today. Tell all of your friends and colleagues their ability to fill out the survey. What we intend to do with the survey results is it will be online until March 23rd. At that time, the Personnel Department will take all the surveys, put them together, and we will put the results online. So the community will be able to see what the results of the surveys were and the number of surveys we received, so that people will get a sense of what all of the survey respondents felt would be the qualities, characteristics that they would like to see in their chief of police. The other piece that I would say is the time frame for this is somewhat accelerated only because of the fact that the chief of police has announced his retirement June 27th. So we must have someone identified in the 3 names that we send to the mayor on or about June 1st so the mayor can complete his process. So that's why we're moving this forward as rapidly as we are to keep in line with the time frame. The purpose of that is so that we can meet Chief Beck's retirement date and not necessarily have to have an interim chief of police in between the time he would leave and the selection of a new chief. It's most critical. We appreciate you coming today. Tell your friends and colleagues about the survey, about the other 3 meetings, and we look forward to hearing your comments. So with that, Commissioner, I'll turn it back to you.
Ready? We have 7 comment cards. We will start with Troy. I believe it says Isaac. I'm not sure.
Good morning. I just want to say that I'm recommending Chief Beatrice Grimala, and here's why. When I got out of prison back in 2008, I was a young advocate, and she was there guiding me and helping me when I used to bring victims of crime when she was a captain into the police station. She was always helping me. She always was diligent. She always was open for meetings. She's just a beautiful person all the way around. The homeless population, people of color, always would praise her, saying that she did her job and she was amazing at doing her job. And that's what we need in this city. We need someone that has an ear, that's open to communication, that will sit down with us, will bridge the gap, and will help us resolve issues. And she doesn't have a problem with putting an officer in his or her place. She doesn't have a problem with recommending disciplinary action to an officer. She doesn't have a problem with that. And that's why I love her so much for doing that. And she's always helped me. She's always been there. She's always steadfast. And she's determined to resolve issues. And I'm a part of HEAT Symposium, which is Hiring Economic Accountability Training, which is my fist pump right here. And she's open to having meetings with us to come up with a resolution to resolve issues in our community. And that's what we need. Thank you. I still got 20 seconds.
Renato Lira.
Good morning, commissioners. It's really nice to have you guys here in our community. My name is Renato Lira. I am the director of the LGBTQ here in the San Fernando Valley. Also, I sit on the group on the LAPD. It's been already 3 years. Celebrating next week. So this is really important for us to choose our next chief here in our community. What do we expect from our new chief? One other person that I do support really hard is Chief Kamala, because the reason is that you want an officer or a chief who can work together on the table with the community, also to bring the 2 parties together. She's the one who has done that here in the San Fernando Valley. We have changed a lot of new changes with different officers. So it's someone that she can bring those 2 people together. I think that's what we need now. We need 2 people that they can work together in the community with the officers. We don't need them divided. So that's why the reason is really important that we can bring someone who can deliver that message. But also, too, we need someone who has already worked on the department of LAPD. Chief Kamala has grew up in the police department in different levels. She has delivered the message in different directions. So that's really important, that you need someone who's already working in LA, who's a resident in LA, who knows what's going on in our community. We don't need someone away from our community like different cities. We need someone who's local, who can deliver the message. Also, the real important is how to work with the LGBTQ, how to deliver a message with us, how to bring that relationship into the table, because that's something that we've been fighting a lot for my 3 years here. So I hope that you guys choose the right person.
Craig Rattle.
Hi, Craig Radow, Studio City Neighborhood Council Public Safety Chairman. Thank you for listening to community feedback. The Valley is made up of nearly 2 million people. We can no longer be an afterthought by downtown. We are mad and we are concerned. Valley police divisions need more resources, need more officers to continue to do their jobs at the highest standard. Petty crimes like car break-ins may not be the top concern of the current or future police chief, but it is a major concern for many across the Valley. We do not want issues of crime in the Valley to escalate further. Residents are worried, businesses are worried, our officers need support. Things need to change. When the next police chief wakes up in the morning, he or she needs to place their concerns of the Valley first on their priority list. The Valley should no longer be an afterthought. And I have one more comment. The Police Commission has the power to make real change now. You have the ear of the mayor and the police chief now. Help the residents now. Help our Valley police departments now. And starting tomorrow, make sure funds and additional officers are allocated to the North Hollywood and Van Nuys division. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen Kaplonsky.
I have a very short comment. I totally agree with the prior speaker. I think it's really important to hire someone from within LAPD. I don't have anyone specific to recommend, but I think we need someone with deep knowledge and understanding who can be effective right from the start.
Isaac Bryan.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Executive Director, for hosting this meeting, this convening. I have a lot of thoughts about a new chief, particularly given the limited window that we have to select our chief. It's really important that we get this first round of checks right before we send it to the mayor. To that end, we need a chief that recognizes that poverty shouldn't be a crime. There are laws and frameworks that bind the chief's actions, but the chief has the power to empower officers with wider discretion when dealing with issues of poverty, specifically homelessness. We need a chief who recognizes that we can't arrest our way out of homelessness. That's been a thinking of the past, either implicitly or just in the data. We need a chief who recognizes that the entire department should in some ways be a hope team. On to data, we need a chief who recognizes the value in evidence-based practices and evidence-based evaluation. Law enforcement data is incredibly difficult to work with. I know that because I'm a Master's of Public Policy student at UCLA, and I'm part of a group called $1 Million Hoods, and we analyze law enforcement data. It's very dirty, and I can't imagine how the department is running reports on that data. It's taken us 5 PhDs and 8 master's students to come up with sensible reports from cleaning it. We need a chief who recognizes that that's an issue and something that should be dealt with for the betterment of the department and the betterment of the community, transparency, accountability. And my last point to accountability, we need a chief who holds officers accountable with an equal standard for all officers, not one who wavers whether discretion or whether certain punishments should be levied out on certain officers and not others, one who uniformly recognizes that when you operate out of policy and it's in his discretion to hold you accountable, that his or her discretion, that should be utilized. Moreover, in my last 10 seconds, thank you to the commission. You have a role in overseeing the new chief, and I hope that in this process you think critically about your role as well.
Adam Smith.
Morning. I'm not here to advocate for any particular candidate, but I just think for the last 7 of the 8 years that Chief Beck ran the department, the LAPD led all U.S. police departments in the killing of its residents, and I hope that the next chief will look at officer-involved shootings, as you guys call them for some reason. I hope that they look at those as mistakes and not just a part of the job that tends to happen a lot in LA. I had other points, but I'm distracted. What was I going to say? I guess that's it. I think of like the case of Azell Ford, where the police commission actually ruled that Officer Wampler acted out of policy, and Chief Beck was against your ruling, and he released a Facebook video that day about protecting his officers, like the vests that they wear, and I can totally understand in the chief they want to watch out for their officers, but I feel like as this police department continues to lead the league in the killing of its residents, there really needs to be strides made by the new chief to actually hold their officers accountable. Thanks.
Rodney Andrews.
Good afternoon, Commission. Rodney Andrews. Really quick, one of the quantities that, this time is really cool. One of the quantities in the chief that I think is very important is effective communication. I think that's something that's very important, and you guys should recruit for an effective communicator. One of the things also I think is very cool and crucial is a person from LA that understands the needs of LA, both the Valley and Central LA. That's very important. I represent Watts, California as well, and we need more police power there, and we need someone that's from the grassroots community. I'm in support of Beatrice Kamala as chief of LAPD. I think it's pretty cool to have a first female chief of police for the city, and it's very hard to find a she or he or someone that's pretty cool and to run the police department. Hey, it's when I worked in HR for 7 years, it was very difficult to find a female police officer, and I think you guys have a winner. She went up in the ranks, and she's a woman from the community, and I think you guys have a winner. Check her application out.
Maria Skelton.
Good morning. I would like the next chief of police to have an open mind when it comes down to felons. When he or she, a felon, gets out of jail, he or she would need a job. If we don't give them a job and hire them, they'll go back to what they were doing, and that's either robbing, stealing, pimping, selling drugs, etc. So I'm looking for the next chief of police to have an open mind, because if we hire them, they'll turn around and help us. So let's help them so they can help us. I get a lot of help from the rapper The Game. I am a council member of Van Nuys Neighborhood Council, and I always go to the rapper The Game. He supplies me with a lot of stuff that I need in the community with no questions asked. So if he can help me, I know that my chief of police could do more by helping my community too. Thank you.
Susan Rourke.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to this, and I normally never come to these things, but I care enough about this to have gotten myself here, even arriving late, and I apologize for that too. I'm an LA native. Next month I turn 62, and so I've had a lot of experience as a citizen witnessing what the police are like and interacting with them. I remember growing up the police being scary. and being like life-threatening if you saw them, especially if you were a hippie or somebody who was not, a typical conservative, person. And like the shoot first, ask later kind of mentality, and then we had the Rodney King riots. Along comes the consent decree, which was needed. Ever since Chief Beck has been in power, I have seen amazing changes be put into place. Right now, today, I'm no longer afraid to talk to a policeman or a policewoman. Right now, when I talk to them, they feel like human beings to me. They don't feel like somebody I'm scared of. So what I want when you are looking, first of all, I hope that Chief Beck is included in the input when you're choosing a replacement. I hope he gets to vote because his judgment is fantastic. Wonderful. I hope that whoever you choose continues this amazing, excellent direction of improvement that Chief Beck has started with regard to making sure that officers are personable, respectful, not arrogant, approachable, reasonable, all these improvements that I have seen, like talk and discuss first, shoot later, all of this. This is my wish and my dream, and I cannot be more grateful for what Beck has brought us. I'm sad to see him go, but he deserves a wonderful retirement. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak to this.
Pierre Yvonne Ariella.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, fellow commissioners, constituents, and officers. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that this process involves the community as well. I just wanted to share some of the things that I feel are important for the candidate to actually have as one of their competencies and to have full capacity in these things. So I think the next candidate for the chief of police should be somebody who understands the complexities of mental health, the complexities of homelessness, and of juvenile delinquency, and that they shouldn't necessarily be criminalized off the rip just for certain instances. I think we need to start learning how to create programs within the police department and outside of the police department that can wrap these individuals with a quilt of community as we should. In addition to that, I think the next candidate should be one who believes transparency and accountability is at the forefront of their practice. I think just in my community dealings, I've noticed that within law enforcement agencies all throughout, Sheriff's Department and some of the other independent law enforcement agencies, when there's a commission involved and when there's an oversight agency, it can be a benefit to the actual law enforcement agency to have a commission or an oversight agency proceeding over certain issues of transparency and accountability, but it must be in such a way where there's full transparency to the public as well. A lot of the times it seems as if there's collusion going on essentially between the oversight agencies, and I think it's very important for there to be clarity and transparency for the community as well. Lastly, I feel like the next candidate should be one that understands that there is generational trauma, especially in our underprivileged communities and communities of people of color, and for increasing training of officers, not just in how to shoot a gun or how to fight and whatnot, but also really looking at the percentage increase in de-escalation and community engagement. Those are very important, and we should definitely make sure that they remain in line. Thank you very much.
Corinne Ho.
Commissioner Figueroa Avila, good morning. Mr. Tiffany, good morning. Corinne Ho. I belong to the Topanga Division. I am, first of all, thank you for being here in the Valley today, giving us folks opportunity to address the Commission. And I have filled out the survey for the next Chief of Police, and of course it goes without saying that all the questions that were in the survey are all applicable to who the next Chief of Police should be: accountability, transparency, good leadership, understanding the different diversity of that Los Angeles has. But most importantly, I think that the next Chief of Police should continue the great work of Chief Beck, in terms of community policing. The community is obviously an inextricable part of policing, and constitutional policing is also a concept that should be continued to be looked into. We at the police, at the Topanga Division, have a great community policing officers. Our senior lead officers are amazing. The community loves them. They really embody what community policing is all about, and we would like the next chief of police to continue that. I also want to point out that I hope the next chief of police will have a streak of independent, focusing on the 4 million people in the city of Los Angeles that the police would serve. Would also look into the morale of the police officers inside the department, how to retain more police, how to make them love their job more. Times are really difficult right now. The gentleman earlier talked about mental health. The police should not be social workers, and thank you.
And we have no other comment cards, Commissioner?
Anyone else who would like to speak that did not fill out a comment card, please feel free to come forward. Just announce your name and you're welcome to speak. Want to give everyone who took the time to come an opportunity. Any takers? It's up to the commissioner. I'm not running the meeting.
Yes, you may.
I wanted to add, I commute. I also happen to work for the city, which means I'm not even supposed to be here speaking. We have a gag order on our department. But anyway, I commute. I've been commuting since I started with the city. So I take the orange line and the red line and all that. At this point, I'm amazed. If it were up to me, the sheriff's department would be shadowing and watching the police officers who are now, thank you, Creator, in charge of enforcing law on my buses and trains. They get it right. They actually, there's a code of conduct, a list of beautiful rules for bus riders, okay, and train riders. Sheriff's departments did nothing, and they had this really arrogant goon squad attitude. It was ugly and nasty. They treated us, what is our crime? We're commuting to work. We're not in the yard. The police officers, since they've stepped in, they're actually now enforcing these rules, but doing it politely. They're, you know, you can talk to them. They're nice. They say, please, thank you, have a nice day. It's incredible. Sheriff's Department should learn from who the police department is now. And again, I credit Chief Beck with that, and I'm grateful. Thank you, LAPD, for taking over MTA security. Yay.
Thank you so much for inviting, the Peanut Gallery to come up. My name is Krishna Thangavelu. I'm actually a Palisades resident, but I'm on Paul Krikorian's mailing list, and he does a fantastic job publicizing this. I will guarantee you a full room when you come to West LA, because I just saw that you're coming to us. But just to give you a heads up, the Palisades, for instance, is extremely concerned about crime prevention, and I'm doing some work with the community there to share crime prevention tips with our local township. I think that's going to get published in the Palisades News shortly. The 22 square miles that is the Palisades has only one patrol car assigned to it based out of West LA. We've been hit with a lot of crime, which is one of the reasons I can guarantee you will have an active audience when you come to West LA. And I guess my points for the new commissioner coming up, and I'll have more reasoned thoughts when I see you again in a week, is to realize that there appears to be a labor shortage. And there appears to be, from what I've heard, a need for better technology within the police system. The labor shortage is not unique to the police department. It's just that by the time we hit 2030, a lot of people the boomers are going to be aged out of our system. So I would like the new commissioner to give some real thought to force multipliers and using community policing to help with efforts. I also heard on NPR that your data systems are inadequate, which I completely understand. You know, that resources are limited, but I just want the new commissioner to be aware. He had, I had heard this number, and it was something that private funding could easily bridge. So I would love for you to have a wish list of what you want going into with the new commissioner, so that we in the private side, the foundation side, could try to get that money. Let's get it done. And thanks for having me up, and we'll be back. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Hi again. I'll be quick. The other point I wanted to make is just that I think it's important that I know that in 2017, I think something like 92% of uniformed officers received 4 hours of de-escalation training, and I think it's important for, I don't know if those numbers are correct, but I think that's what it was. I know that there was a 10% increase in the police budget for going into 18-19 to $1.8 billion. So I don't think, we definitely don't need any more funding. But I think that de-escalation training, while not perfect, I think it's really important. And I think in the new chief, it's important that the chief lets their officers know that they aren't mental health professionals, that they don't have the necessary training to deal with a lot of the issues that they'll see with, especially in the homeless population. And unfortunately, the police are the first people that show up to deal with a lot of people with mental health issues. And I think it's just important that the chief drives home to their officers that in the definition of serving and protecting, the police officers aren't mental health professionals. So thank you.
Anyone else?
Anyone else? Y'all came out.
Hello again. The reason why I would like the next chief to be open to people that's felons, I have a son that's in prison, and he's about to get out pretty soon. And I just look at, no matter how much education that he's getting in there, Spanish class, Microsoft Word, all the classes that they're offering in there, he's taking it. But when he gets out, what is going to be his next step? Who's going to hire him? If the officers stop him, what are they going to think when they run his name? What's going to pop up? How are they going to treat him? So I want the next chief to have an open mind and be ready to help our community. I shouldn't have to call the game Casey Lee, Willie Mack, Carl Payne, all these other celebrities to come and help me, when my chief of police should have an open door to help me his or herself. Thank you.
A few people just walked in. Do you have any comments you'd like to make? Give your name, please.
Yes, Christoph LaBelle. I'm coming here from Westwood Village. I'm a master's student in public policy at UCLA. So I guess one key thing I've been doing this quarter is taking class with Michael Dukakis. We've examined public safety a little bit, how to deal with certain organizational challenges when it comes to law enforcement. So I think having a leader who can always challenge the culture and try and improve things, making sure that folks who can bring down police departments wherever you are, able to bounce back, be more resilient. And not sure what others said earlier, or if you're able to officially consider this, but I think it's important to have a person of color as the next chief of LA, and or somebody from the city of LA. So I think that'd be important. When it comes to an outsider or somebody else who's worked here in the department, Yeah, I think it's tough to say which one would be best, but I guess I'll leave that up to folks on the commission to make that best judgment. I think that's all for now, but I've been trying to encourage some of my fellow students at UCLA to get involved. I'm going to be out of town next weekend, so I wanted to come over here to Van Nuys and pitch in as I can.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Last call.
Also, as the chief, I thought we need someone also, not only to focus on LA, because the city is San Fernando Valley, we're the left out. We're the ones that we get the last dimes in our community. I thought we need a chief who can come down to the valley to speak to our department, the police departments around different cities. What's going on? What do you need funding? How do we can help you out? Also, have the chief to come out to the community, to work with the residents, to get the relationship. We need a relationship going on basics in our community. But also, you have to realize is that as the mayor is going to make the final decision. Also, we wish we had the mayor also on this kind of meeting, that he can listen what's going on, what is the community is asking for. But as a chief, I think we need someone who's going to be a positive, who's going to listen, who's going to work together, who's going to sit on the table and listen to the community, not to public figures. Because it's time to bring our community back to trust the LAPD. That's what we need to start doing now. Because the way how the system is going on with our president, it's broken system right now. You guys need to bring that relationship back into our community with the new officers. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nikki Lewis. I too am coming from UCLA. I'm getting a Master's of Public Policy and a Master of Social Work, and I work at an agency in the heart of Skid Row, and so I hear horror stories all day about how my clients interact with the police, and usually it's in ways that are not helpful. I really think we can't arrest our way out of homelessness, and I would really like to see a chief who, is kind of has a little bit more understanding of homelessness, which is one of LA's largest problems, and some values that align a little bit more with some of the work that's coming out of the mayor's office. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us a second round as well. I just had one more thing to share that I didn't have enough time to speak about previously. I think the candidate should be an individual that understands the interconnectedness of the criminal justice system and the law enforcement system. The reason being is because a lot of the times police officers serve as the gatekeepers to the criminal justice system, which eventually leads to second-class citizenship as folks are let out. I want to echo some of the concerns that some of the previous speakers mentioned in regards to especially youth coming out of prison or individuals who are aging out of juvie and going into just the traditional prison system. Now, I think when we consider something that was echoed was law enforcement officers aren't social workers. However, even though they're not, and even though that's not the position, I think there's a certain level of capacity and just a contingency plan that needs to take place. I think the chief should come in to the position as someone who has an open mind in regards to community and public collaboration. I think we should have some type of like rapid response teams or crisis response teams. I think if we hear the next candidate really trying to address crisis at a community level, and actually, again, keeping the community involved in and through that process, I think it's something that's key. When you have a room full of bureaucrats discussing what the community is feeling and the pain of the community, it really doesn't leave the community feeling good about the situation. And so this individual should be someone who really understands the value of being accessible to the public, not necessarily attending every single meeting, but being a face that the public can actually trust. aside from the police commissioners, and thank you so much for what you do because you're an extension of that for the law enforcement agency. But I feel very confident in leaving that with your hands, and I think you have a diverse enough team as well to make a really good decision and recommendation to the mayor. So thank you very much.
Just one more pitch on the survey. Again, it's available at 3 sites: www.lacity.org, which is the city's main website; www.per.lacity.org, which is the personnel department website; and www.lapdonline.org, which is the LAPD website. When you access the website, a big icon with a badge will pop up on the front page, and just click on that. It will take you there, and tell your friends and colleagues about it. We encourage that. I must say again, this is the largest attendance we've had so far at our 3 community meetings. Thank you all for coming out in the morning and for being engaged and giving great comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you for staying involved and engaged, and we'll keep you posted. Thank you so much.